Hi friends, my name is Jenny, and today I'm going to be talking about Saving Us, a climate scientist's case for hope and healing in a divided world by Katharine Hayhoe. This book is the first book that I read in 2022, and honestly, it's probably going to be a standout read of the year. I very intentionally picked this book as the first book I wanted to read this year because I wanted to set my year off right, and I'm so glad I did. And I wanted to just kind of share some thoughts with you because I found this book to be super thought-provoking and I think is a book that everyone should read. This is a nonfiction book by Katharine Hayhoe, who is a climate scientist. She's worked on a number of the kind of more well-known pieces of the state of the world regarding climate change work, such as the IPCC reports, the US National Climate Assessment Report, and a number of other papers and other things that talk about the impacts of climate change so far here in the United States. In addition to that, however, she also is a Christian and is also a big climate speaker, and she really connects those two ideas pretty fluidly in her work, as she believes and discusses a bit in this book how her beliefs regarding Christianity really inform her understanding of climate change and our need to take action regarding climate change. This book in large part both functions as a guide for how to have conversations around climate change, as that is what she believes is the most important thing that individuals can do. But this book also is a deep dive into some of the psychological and political barriers to having these important conversations. At the beginning of the book, she really focuses on political tribalism, particularly in the United States, but I think this is a problem across the globe, and really touches on how research from political scientists and behavioral economists show that our identity has become so tied with our political beliefs and the kind of larger beliefs of the people who we are close to, whether that's the people in our church communities or whether that's the people in our city or whether that's the politicians that we support, and really goes to show the ways that we're kind of at a standstill. We're at a federal political level. From there, she begins to kind of dive more into the facts regarding climate change and what is actually happening, and gives you pretty digestible and easily communicable ideas regarding the existence of climate change and why humans are most definitely causing climate change, which I think could be really effective if you are someone who's intending to kind of take on conversations with people who are fairly skeptical about climate change. However, on the flip side of that, she does really emphasize throughout the book that the most important aspect of going into those conversations is that you're entering into them with a person who shares a common lived experience with you or someone who shares a similar belief to you. So whether that's that you both enjoy commuting to work via bicycle, or you're both part of the same church community, or you're both alumni of the same institution, those types of common lived experiences, she believes, are what are most effective to actually changing people's perspectives on climate change and providing a way through which you can think about climate change that impacts this aspect of your life that you really care about. I thought that was particularly moving and one of the most effective parts of this book. While a lot of this book I have kind of heard previously, I've read a number of books on the climate crisis and talking about climate change, some of which I've actually talked about in a want to talk about climate change video, which I'll put a link to up in the cards above as well as in the description box below. But I thought the way that she framed how important it is to have this common experience with whoever you're entering this conversation with to be really pertinent, and I think something that we often forget when thinking about the conversation surrounding climate change, particularly in the United States. I also think she toes the line in this book between talking about individual actions and the relative importance of those versus the greater responsibility of large corporations, particularly the fossil fuel industry, in causing climate change and therefore being the ones that need to be kind of reined in terms of their practices. However, he points out a very important point, which is that these individual actions that we take surrounding climate change and changing our lifestyles do help encourage us to act more towards climate change and increase our efficacy, as she calls it, in taking climate action, and therefore initiating these conversations and being more ready to kind of take on larger political action. There is a sense that she talks about a lot in this book as well, that people become hopeless when thinking about the gravity of climate change and the scale and scope of climate change, and how our individual actions, in all honesty, are somewhat meaningless. However, by taking those individual actions, we are kind of feeling like we're part of the solution, and that's a huge element psychologically towards then taking larger steps and encouraging others to take larger steps. All in all, I think this book really is capable of meeting people where they are with regard to their understanding of both the science behind climate change, but also in talking and taking action on climate change. She's just asking you to really look inside yourself and examine how you can help kind of further the conversations. If you are interested in climate change, even if you're not, I would highly recommend checking this book out. It's, as you can see, I like tabbed up the vast majority of this book. Sorry to people that don't like tabbed up books, that's what I do. Almost every page I found something that I just thought was really thought-provoking, really moving, and I just wanted to share this with all of you. Also, compulsively readable. I don't think you need a strong background in science, like particularly climate science, to understand this book. In fact, a lot of it, as I said, is really focused on this more social science. If it was not already clear, I gave this book 5 stars and would highly recommend you check it out. It's a conversation that we need to continue to be having. If you have any questions about this book or are now interested in reading it, please do let me know down in the comment section below. Additionally, if you are new to my channel, I'd love to have you stick around and subscribe. I read a lot of nonfiction about climate change and talk about climate change, but I also read a number of other genres, including literary fiction and other nonfiction. So please do stick around if you are interested. I hope you're having a great rest of your day whenever you watch this, and I will talk to you next time.